Hi, welcome in Introduction to Linguistics class, and this is the first material of Introduction to Linguistics. And we will discuss the origin of language.
It's not a game, it's a rich thing.
And here I have two questions. First, who creates a human speech? And the second questions, do animals have language? So we will discuss those two questions for this meeting. Although there is not any physical evidence, or maybe it's just speculations about the origin of human speech, here I have data regarding to the research conducted by people years ago regarding to the origin of language. The first research was from an Egyptian sparrow. The name is Sameticus. So he tried the experiment with two newborn babies, like more than 2,500 years ago. And after 2 years, in the company of goats and also a mute shepherd, the children were reported to have spontaneously uttered, but not an Egyptian word. And another research also conducted by King James IV of Scotland. So he carried out a similar experiment around the year 1,500 years ago. And the children were reported to have started speaking Hebrew. So those two research related to the origin of language. In conclusion, what language we produce, what language we use is from what we heard. So, for example, people from Sumba will use Sumbanese, will use Sumba language. People from Borneo, they will use language from Borneo. Jadi semisal orang dari Sumba akan memakai bahasa Sumba karena sejak lahir mereka mendengar bahasa itu. Sama halnya dengan orang Jawa, mereka menggunakan bahasa Jawa karena dari kecil mereka juga mendengar orang berbicara dengan menggunakan bahasa Jawa. So that's the example of the origin of language. Maybe for the next explanations, I will mix my language, bahasa, and also English, so you have a clear explanations related to the origin of language. Okay, pay attention to those words. We have buzz, splash, bang, rattle, and boom. When a word is from echoing natural sound, we call it onomatopoeic. Jadi misalnya kata pertama buzz identik dengan lebah or bee. Buzz yang artinya mendengung berasal dari suara lebah yang terbang mengeluarkan bunyi buzz. Sehingga secara abstrak kata mendengung itu merepresentasikan lebah yang sedang terbang. Maka dalam bahasa Inggris mendengung berarti buzz. Sama halnya dengan kata yang terakhir misalnya boom. When you hear something explode, jadi ada sesuatu yang meledak yang biasanya bunyinya boom. Jadi kata ledakan dalam bahasa Inggris kebanyakan orang menggunakan kata boom yang artinya meledak or ledakan. And now pay attention to this word. We have ouch. In the left side, ouch can be said if you feel painful. But in the other side, the word ouch can be the interjections such as wow, yuck, which are usually produced with sudden intakes of breath, which is opposite of ordinary talk. Jadi ouch yang pertama itu bisa menunjukkan kalau kalian kesakitan, misalnya menginjak sesuatu yang tajam, beling, kemudian bilang ouch, berarti kaki kalian sakit. Tetapi untuk kata yang kedua, ouch adalah sebuah sisipan. Sama halnya ketika kalian mengucapkan kata ah, oh, wow, or yuck di tengah-tengah pembicaraan, sehingga bisa berarti ouch ini kalian setuju dengan statement yang dibuat orang lain atau kalian tidak setuju dengan statement yang diberikan orang lain. For example, have you seen Brandon's new car? It crashed a tree last night. Misalnya ada statement seperti itu yang dikatakan oleh seseorang, kemudian kalian menjawab, ouch, I'm really sorry to hear that. It doesn't mean you feel painful. Jadi bukan berarti ouch yang kedua ini kalian merasa sakit. Hanya saja kalian merasa prihatin karena Brandon's new car crashed the tree last night. Okay, so when we talk about language, when we talk about sound, it relates to speech organ. We have teeth, we have lips, mouth, tongue, pharynx, and larynx. Jadi ada 6 speech organ yang berhubungan dengan bahasa. Start from the teeth. They are also very helpful in making sound of such F or V. Ketika kalian mengucapkan kata yang memiliki bunyi F dan V, gigi kalian itu sangat membantu untuk speech production-nya. When you say five or false or volume, value, and so on, you need your teeth to produce sound F and V. And lips, you can then organize them into your introductions and your main content. And go on to the mouth, it can be open and closed rapidly and contains a smaller, thicker, and more muscular tongue. So of course, in producing an utterance, we use our mouth to say the word. The next is tongue. It is used to shape a wide variety of sound inside the oral cavity. Jadi lidah juga sangat berguna untuk membuat beberapa jenis bunyi. The last is pharynx and larynx. Larynx is a voice box and pharynx is the vocal cord. Okay, so the next is human brain. Why we have to talk about human brain? Because the language production is also from human brain. The sound productions is in the human brain. And human brain here has 2 hemispheres. The left hemisphere is used to control motor movement involved in things like speaking and object manipulations. So the language here is produced in the left hemisphere. Jadi otak kiri manusia berfungsi untuk mengatur seseorang dalam memproduksi bahasa. When did the human can produce a language at the first time? Pay attention to those stages. So the first stage, at birth, the baby's brain is only a quarter. And in the stage 2, larynx is much higher in the throat to breathe and drink at the same time. In the stage 3, a relatively short period of time, the larynx descends. In the stage 4, the brain develops, and after the brain develops, child assumes an upright posture and start walking and talking. Jadi seseorang harus melewati 4 fase atau 4 tahap ini terlebih dahulu sebelum kemudian mereka bisa berbicara. While there are a lot of stories about creatures that can talk, we usually assume that they are fantasy or fictions, or that they involve birds or animals simply imitating something they have heard humans say. Yet, we know that creatures are capable of communicating, certainly with other members of their own species. Is it possible that a creature could learn to communicate with humans using language? So that's the second questions we discussed before. Banyak yang mempertanyakan apakah hewan itu bisa berbicara atau tidak. Kalaupun mereka berbicara, banyak juga yang beranggapan bahwa itu hanya cerita fiksi atau dongeng. Banyak ya cerita-cerita fable atau cerita-cerita binatang yang mengisahkan mereka bisa berbicara. Mereka hanya bisa berkomunikasi, tetapi tidak dengan manusia, hanya dengan their own species, dengan spesies mereka sendiri atau dengan spesies mereka masing-masing. So why we don't say animals produce language or animals have language? Because language here is communicative and informative signals. Jadi kenapa sih hewan itu tidak bisa dikatakan bahwa mereka memiliki bahasa? Karena pengertian bahasa sendiri adalah sesuatu yang komunikatif atau sesuatu yang dapat mengirim sinyal informatif. So someone listening to you may become informed about you through a number of signals that you have not intentionally sent. When you use language to tell this person, for example, I like to apply for the vacant positions of a senior brain surgeon at the hospital. You are normally considered to be intentionally communicating something. So when we talk about distinctions between human language and animals' communications, we are considering both in terms of their potential as means of intentional communication. Ketika kalian mendengarkan seseorang berbicara, tanpa kalian sadari, kalian mengerti apa yang mereka bicarakan, mereka mengirimkan signal informatif. So that's we called informative signals. Okay, go on to displacement. Displacement here allows language users to talk about things and events not present in immediate environment. And displacement here is the property of human language. While animals' communication is generally considered to lack of this property. So animal here has less displacement. Misalnya saja kalian mendengarkan cerita-cerita dongeng yang kalian tidak ada di sana, tetapi kalian bisa memahami apa yang diceritakan, apa yang kalian dengar. Nah, itu adalah salah satu penjelasan kalau human language memiliki displacement. It also same when you see your cat comes home and stands at your feet and calling you with the sound meow. You will understand this message as relating to that immediate time and place. Jadi misalnya ada kucing kalian pulang ke rumah, kemudian berdiri di samping kalian dan bilang miau, kemungkinan besar kalian akan mengerti apa yang dia maksud. Bisa saja dari kebiasaan-kebiasaan yang sudah dilakukan sebelumnya. Okay, now the productivity of human language. Humans are continually creating new expressions and novel utterance by manipulating their linguistic resources to describe new objects and situations, while animal cannot manipulate its communication system to create new message. Jadi di sini ada penjelasan yang bertentangan antara manusia dan hewan. Kalau manusia itu bisa menciptakan ekspresi yang baru atau bisa menciptakan suatu ungkapan, tetapi berbeda halnya dengan manusia, hewan tidak bisa melakukan hal-hal tersebut. So we call it fixed reference for the animal. Jadi hewan hanya bisa menciptakan fixed reference. So these signals are fixed in terms of their reference and cannot be manipulated. Ya, kalau tadi sudah dijelaskan, kenapa sih orang Sumba bisa bahasa Sumba? Kenapa orang Kalimantan bisa bahasa Kalimantan? Kenapa orang Jawa bisa memakai bahasa Jawa? Salah satu faktornya adalah cultural transmissions. So this is the process whereby a language is passed on from one generation to the next generations. We acquire our first language as children in a culture. Jadi penguasaan bahasa itu sendiri dimulai dari budaya. And the cultural transmissions of a specific language is crucial in the human acquisition process. Jadi sangat penting sekali untuk cultural transmission ini dalam penguasaan bahasa karena bahasa tidak dipengaruhi oleh physical features. Misalnya saja ada seseorang yang memiliki orang tua berkebangsaan Inggris, secara otomatis mereka memiliki ciri-ciri fisik yang hampir sama dengan orang tuanya, misal rambutnya pirang, matanya biru, kulitnya putih, dan lain sebagainya. Tetapi ketika kedua orang tua mereka tidak mengajarkan bahasa Inggris kepada anaknya dan secara kebetulan mereka tinggal di Indonesia dan kedua orang tua mereka lancar sekali berbicara bahasa Indonesia, lingkungannya menggunakan bahasa Indonesia, sehingga anak tersebut belum tentu bisa menggunakan bahasa Inggris. Kenapa? Karena unsur budaya ini sangat mempengaruhi someone acquire their first language. So that's why a cultural transmissions is very crucial for human acquisition process. Itu kenapa cultural transmission ini sangat crucial, sangat penting sekali untuk penguasaan bahasa seseorang. Okay, let me ask again. Do animals have language? Riders can say who to horses so they can stop. Or you can say to your cat so that your cat come to you. Or you can see in a circus, in animal circus, when someone says something and then the animals do whatever the speaker wants. So that's we call particular behavior in response to a particular sound or stimulus or noise, but does not actually understand what the word is the noise mean. Jadi penjelasan singkatnya sih, binatang itu tidak memiliki bahasa. Kalaupun mereka mengerti apa yang kita ucapkan, jadi merespon dari apa yang biasa kita lakukan. Misal saja kalian punya kucing, kalian panggil namanya dan kalian kasih makan, otomatis secara terus-menerus kucing itu akan merekam kejadian ini. Ketika mereka dipanggil, mereka akan dikasih makan. Maka ketika mereka dipanggil, mereka akan datang. So that's not about understanding the language, but that's about stimulus and response. You may also read some research related to chimpanzee in page 13 up to 16. So those talk about research of chimpanzees. We have Gua, Washu, Sarah and Lana, Names, and Kanzi. Well, I think that's it for today for the origin of human language. I hope you got what I meant. I hope this explanation is clear enough. And don't forget to write down your name and your student's number in comment as your attendance list. And I'll see you next meeting for another discussions. Thank you for watching.